Alright, hello and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. So today I'm going to be doing a squishy makeover video. I've never done one of these before, so I had to go out and buy a whole bunch of different supplies to use for it. So I'm going to be showing you those first before we jump into the video. I got these all off of Amazon, so I'll leave links in the description just in case you're interested in buying them. So let me get this kind of cleaned up a little bit more so I can show you what we got. Okay, so I bought this pack of like 12 just blank squishies. I thought it would be a lot easier to paint on a white surface than repaint over something for my first time doing a makeover. So they're all pretty cute designs, but today I'm only going to be doing two of them. So I'm just going to be doing the penguin and the elephant because I wanted to pick some simple designs to start out with. So let me just move all the rest of these out of the way real quick. The pack that I bought also came with this little set of 12 Puffy Paint, so just a whole bunch of different colors to work with. Then I also bought some matte white and black paint so that I can mix it in with other colors and stuff like that. And then I also got this pack of Puffy Paint, just a whole bunch of different colors. These are also scented, so that should be really interesting. And then I also have this brush-on fabric paint, so I assume this is very similar to the matte paint. And then I have this big ol' hunk of memory foam to use as well for repairs and stuff. So we're going to be starting off with the elephant. It's got a pretty good squish. It's not the best, not the worst. It's just alright, you know. I do think it has a really cute design though. I love this ribbon around its neck. I think that's a really cute detail. It's got that little tail in the back there, and I love the way it's sitting. I've noticed with these squishies that came in this pack that almost all of them have really bad air bubbles. So this one has one on the bottom and then the trunk there, which is annoying, but it's fixable. It shouldn't be too hard to repair. Yeah, I'm really excited to paint this, but first we gotta do all of the repairs to make sure it's ready for the paint. Alright, so I'm gonna start off with sanding, which I really should not have done. It caused problems later on. It would have been fine if I hadn't sanded it, but now I'm gonna just go ahead and cut open those air bubbles, and then I'm gonna stuff some foam in there to make sure that they don't collapse anymore when you squish it. And now I'm just going to cover those with glue, which I probably didn't need to do. Puffy paint probably would have worked just fine here. Now I'm going in with the puffy paint just to make sure it's all really sealed in there and smooth so that you can't tell that it ever happened. There's also a crack in the neck just from me holding it, so I went ahead and went over that too to make sure that it was all smooth and sealed up so it wouldn't cause problems later on. And here's where we're at now. I think the repairs went really well. You can't really tell that I did them. There's still the crack in the neck at the moment, but with some more layers of paint that should go away just fine. When you squish it, it doesn't collapse anymore, so that's really nice too. Now I'm just going to go in with some gray paint for the base coat, and as you can tell, I've already done the back. I somehow didn't film that part, so that's cool. But anyways, I just went with the normal gray. I didn't want to do anything too exciting for this one, so I'll just have a basic elephant here. I also somehow lost the rest of this footage, so this is what we get, I guess. Now I'm just going to go in with the second coat, and as you can tell, there are so many holes in the elephant from the sanding incident, so it's going to take a whole bunch of coats to go over that and fix it. So I did try and go over it with this metal stick thing because I thought it might fill the paint holes a little bit better. The only problem is she has a lot of different details and curves and stuff, so it was really hard to get in there with this to make it smooth, so I ended up ditching that and going back to the paintbrush. And first I'd like to apologize for the lighting in this shot. It's really bad. I'm still learning, so bear with me. But now I'm doing the eyes, and it was really hard to get these smooth and circular. Drawing circles for your hands is really hard too, but then using this dotting tool to make the circle was a little difficult. And now I'm gonna go ahead and paint the ribbon, and I'm going with a pink. As you can tell, I've got a little pink in the ears too, because they're gonna be the same color. Thought it'd be cute to have them matching, and I thought the soft pink would go really nicely with the gray. It was really hard to get this smooth with the dotting tool, but with a few coats it ended up getting pretty smooth. It's still a little bit lumpy, but you know, I did the best I could. So I did a little bit off camera, and here's where we're at. I'm pretty sure she's a demon. We'll fix that though, she'll be fine. Alright, so now I'm gonna go in with the ears again. Here's where you can really see how difficult it is to get this smooth. I tried my best, but it kind of just looks like someone chewed up some bubble gum and stuck it in her ears and called it good. With a few more coats, it did get a little bit smoother, but it's still really, really lumpy in her ears. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go around the ribbon again one more time, just really trying to make it smooth. And here's where she's at now. I finished her eyes there, I put little cute lashes on her. Now I'm just going in with a light teal color for her irises. I thought it looked really nice with the pinks and grays and would make a nice color combination. Now I'm doing the nostrils, which are a little crooked, but that's okay. Now I'm just going to go in again with the ears, just really trying to make them smooth. There's so many more coats that I did off camera of both the gray and the ears. And oh, here's my kitty cat. This is Cosmo, and he decided to join me and start knocking everything around with his tail. So that was fun. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do some detail work going around that ribbon to make sure it's nice and clean. And around the little trunk there. And the toenails, which you didn't see me paint. And her eyes. And then she is finished. So now we're going to move on to the penguin. Alright, here he is. I think he's a really cute design. I like how he's just a little ball with his feet sticking out and his little wings. I really like the shape of the beak. Yeah, I just think he's very cute. He does still have those air bubbles, unfortunately. He's got the two on the back here. And then he also has two on his feet. So that's super annoying. But again, it's something we can fix. So that's good. As far as the foam quality, it's the same type of foam as the elephant. So it's just alright, you know. Not the best squish, not the worst. Hopefully that will get better with paint. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and sand, and like I said before, I should not have sanded, but I did the prep and painting for both of these at the same time, so I had not yet learned my lesson, unfortunately. Now I'm just going to cut open all those air bubbles. And I did actually find another air bubble while I was doing that, so I went ahead and cut that open too. Now I'm going to use this chunk of foam to cut little pieces off and shove it in to the holes to keep them from collapsing, just like I did for the elephant. Although this process took a lot longer because there were a lot more air bubbles. Now I'm just going to cover all those with some glue just to seal it in. Like I said before, puppy paint probably would have been fine, but again, I didn't know that yet. And now I'm covering all those with the puffy paint to make sure that they're nice and smooth, so I'm doing lots of thick coats over those. Just trying to seal in all of the cracks and make sure that it'll be nice and smooth for the paint later on. And here he is now. He looks like he sat in some orange juice or something. And here you can really see it's a little bit bumpy where some of the cuts were. I'm hoping with some paint that'll be fixed. Here you can tell when I press on them that they don't really indent anymore, so that's really good. So now I'm going to be using this paint, and it is the smelly paint. It's blue raspberry, so we'll have to see how that smells. I didn't want it to be quite so light, so I'm going to mix in some matte black paint to make it a little bit darker. So here's coat number 1. I did get the paint a little too dark though. I'm going to probably change that later on, but for now we'll just work with this. And as you can tell, it's kind of like painting a sponge. The paint is just getting soaked in. It looks like I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of coats on this one. Now we're on to the front, which I had to be a lot more careful with, just trying to make sure I stay in the lines there so I don't get too much paint on where his belly will be. So that's why I'm in a weird part of the frame here and kind of off frame sometimes, just because I'm really trying to make sure I stay in the lines and keep this nice and neat to make sure that touch-ups later don't take forever. Now I'm just going to do the bottom there. And now we're on to the feet, and I did get some gray paint smudged in the left foot there, but with a few coats of paint it did go away, so that's good. The feet were hard to get into all the little crevices there, so I did kind of a messy job with those, but it's okay. Fixed it later with some paint, don't worry. Now doing the beak, which was the funnest part to paint. For some reason that was the easiest, probably because it's just kind of a flat surface. Alright, so here you can see what the sandpaper really did to this thing. There were a lot of holes in it already, though, I will say. I just made it a lot worse with the sandpaper, so that's cool. Now here I am mixing the paint again, trying to get a lighter color, because he kind of just looks black at this point, but we wanted a dark blue color for this. So here's the color I ended up with. I went out and bought some precision scissors to go ahead and cut off the seams because it just looked really messy and I didn't want it to look like that, so I decided, despite my best judgment, to go ahead and cut off those seams now, and then I covered them with a really thick coat of paint to fill in the holes that I created. And I found using this metal stick for the penguin worked really well. It was a lot easier to get him smooth, so that was really nice, and it did a lot thicker coats, so it took a lot less time to paint because of that. And now it's time to do the belly finally. So I'm just going to go in with like a off-white color, just keeping it simple. This was really hard to paint. There's a lot of crevices in here, and I had to be careful not to get it on the other parts, like the blue and the orange, so that was very interesting. And it took quite a few coats to build enough to cover up that orange. Kind of looked like you got a creamsicle all over his face for a while. And here's the part where I set him down while he was still wet onto my poster board, and it totally ripped off some of the paper after I picked him up again. I wasn't really sure what to do. I couldn't just scrape it off, so I decided to just paint over it and hope that you couldn't tell later on. So I just did some thick coats of paint on top of it, and we'll have to see if that fixes the problem. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do his little eyes. These were, again, really hard to get nice and even and not lumpy circles, so it took quite a while for me to do that, just going back and forth trying to make sure that they're even. Now I'm just going to add some highlights in his eyes so that he doesn't look dead, and some little eyebrows just to give him a little more character. And he is done! We did it! They're finished finally! It took me a very long time to film this, a lot longer than I thought, but I'm really happy with my results. They're very squishy now, very slow rising, as you can tell. It took a long time for him to rise, so I'll just set him there and go ahead and look at the elephant. I've decided to name her Lulu the Lumpafant because of how lumpy her ears are and her legs. But that's okay. She's got a really good squish, so that's nice. Alright, let's go back to the penguin, and my brother told me I should name him Stefan, so that is his name. He's really fun to squish, but I think he turned out really cute. He's not perfect, but I think it was a pretty good first time. And you can't really even tell about the paper that's underneath there. It's our little secret, I guess. Here you can see that the repairs went really well. There are some lumps still in some spots, but in most spots you can't even tell that I did the repairs, so that's nice. So yeah, that's Stefan. And now back to Lulu the Lumpafant. So I think she turned out really cute. I'm pretty happy with the results. despite those imperfections, I still think she turned out really cute. I like her eyes. I think that they're really pretty. And I like the eyelashes I added. And you can't really tell, again, with the foam in there. There's a little bit of a lump. You can kind of see that something went down there, but if I didn't tell you, I don't think that you would notice. So yeah, those are the results of my first squishy makeover. I really enjoyed this and would really like to continue doing more. And I thought it'd be fun if you guys could vote on the squishies that I do next time. So here are the rest of the squishies that came in the kit, minus one. This one my sister really wanted to paint, so I'm going to go ahead and let her do that. And instead, I'm going to switch it out with this strawberry. I will put a poll up for you guys to vote. And if you guys have any ideas for how to paint them, go ahead and comment below. And thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope to see you again in the future. Thanks. Bye.